Transforming pessimism. Could also say transforming negativity. Pessimism it is a habit of the mind, and it can be rooted deeply in trauma that's in the body, in memory or pain or difficulty or shock, something that occurred to us when we were very young and that shut us down inside our body in some way, some contraction that took place. We maybe don't even have a memory of it, physical, a mental memory. And then it gets imprinted in our body, in our emotional patterns, and in our mind, in the way we think. And it becomes, in time, our worldview. And what we don't realize often is that pessimistic view, that tendency towards thinking negatively of things or being overwhelmed by, the difficulties of life, and so that we're unable to kind of find any positivity or optimism. It's all actually rooted in a physical, cellular reality somewhere inside us. It's physical. So that's something to consider when we consider how to transform pessimism. It's actually, we have to transform something deep in the body, deep in the energy signature of our being. This is a profound thing. This is no small piece of work. And yet there are ways of doing it. That's the good news. That's my optimistic message to you watching this. And there's two sides to this. There's us overcoming our own individual challenge to see the world in a more positive light, to begin to rekindle the hope and the truth and the light that lies inside us. There's that. But then there's also dealing with the pessimism of others, or dealing with the negativity of others, of the world. All of that coming in at us all the time. And how willingly we often imprint ourselves with that. The layers of the world's views, and how it like, for instance, listening to the news. If you listen to the news headlines, if you listen to them carefully, you will see that there are certain words that are used over and over and over again, and phrases and expressions. Alarmed, there's all these panic words or fear words that are layered in over and over and over again. And because that's the news, right? And we're imprinted with that if we choose to be. And that is coming in at us, all of that, not to mention the negativity or the pessimism of people around us, who have their own trauma to deal with. So how do we break through to the light inside us? It's a task. It's a worthy task, yeah? Take some courage, take some guts, take some grit. This is not, the path of a true human is not a path for the weak, or the frail, weak of mind, or the frail of, fearful. You gotta be ballsy. So that's important to realize. I had the great pleasure recently of talking to a wonderful indigenous elder, name of Grandma Sasa, S-A-S-A. You can Google her. And at the end of our discussion, I asked her, I said, what's the most that we can do for the world? And without hesitation, she said, prayer. I'm like, wow, I mean, some people might think, prayer? What is that? Isn't that what Christians do? Is that what, Muslims do? Is that what, we see people pray? I don't pray. That's, But actually, when you really consider what prayer is, it is a re-imprinting of our brain, our emotions, and our physicality through language, through words, the power of words, the power of words. And we have to re-imprint it in layers, layer upon layer upon layer. So I offer that to you to recreate the climate of light or of love or of optimism or of truth that we came into this world with. And then the world wounded us in some way. We were wounded. And we took on this other view that doesn't allow us to breathe, that closes down our neurocircuitry in all kinds of ways, and puts us into habitual, closed circuit, silo-based thought patterns and beliefs, so that we've lost that incredible, infinite expansion thinking of the teenage mind. When you're a teenager, or you talk to a healthy teenager, and they're kind of, the things that mind is open to, the elasticity of such a brain as it's opening and the neurocircuitry is like expanding. Anything's possible. The kind of mind that loves science fiction, that loves mythology, that just believes anything is possible. This is every single one of us has that ability to open again like that. So we have to open up, in so many ways. And what prayer does, a powerful prayer, and you can invent your own prayers, but what a powerful prayer does is it imprints that openness. And you might kind of be pessimistic at the beginning. I'm going to read you one, right? I'm just going to read you a little prayer. Right? I don't even need to read it, actually, because I know it. Like, really simple prayer. Just for a moment, be a kind of, holy person. Just pretend, Put your palms together and repeat after me. And I want you to imagine that there are higher beings if you don't already believe in higher beings. And just allow it in. Just allow the prayer in. Angels and beings of the higher worlds, please listen to this prayer. Please help me to transform this dense, low-frequency energy inside my being into love, into light, into truth, into the spirit of divine tenderness. Please help me to transform this energy into love, into light, into truth, into the spirit of divine tenderness. And maybe you could just feel, maybe you can feel something. You do that. Just the smallest, tiniest shift in your energy of your body. And that was a tiny little prayer. Simple. You could invent your own. And then you do it. And as you do it, over and over again, every day, I recommend finding a time of day and just doing your little prayer. Maybe light a little candle, have a little ritual. Make a space in your day. Be bold. Give it a try. What have you got to lose? How long is this? Like maybe 1 minute of your day? Maybe you do it twice a day. One in the evening, one in the morning. Just what have you got to lose? Just trying it. And do it. And I tell you, you will carve a field of light into your being. And you will come back and you'll want to do it over and over again, because you will feel its effect drilling into the negativity that has built up over the years. And you will just drill holes into that shroud of darkness. You know, you'll drill lots of little holes. Every prayer, every time you do it, it'll open up a little bit more and a little bit more. And it'll start to kind of reawaken the true being that sits inside you. Because if you look out at nature, nature is nothing but optimism. Nothing but optimism. Yes, she's crazy. She creates whirlwinds and tornadoes and kind of, you know, all kinds of things, forest fires, and it's, you know, but she is nothing but optimistic, but flowering. You know, even the things that die are reborn. They serve as compost for the next generation. So there's just nothing in nature but optimism. And it's the same with us. Our core, our heart, at the core of our being, there's nothing there but joy at its core. You know, the ancients called this Ananda. It is our natural born state, the natural state. And Ananda means bliss. Bliss. Not just joy, bliss. You know. So these prayers are powerful because they are carving a way towards that bliss. You know, and then we open up into this grand empathy with all creation. Suddenly we can feel again, we can breathe again. Our brain starts to open up. Our mind starts to open. We drop off those narrow parameter views. The pessimism is gone. The negativity was just a habit. We've dropped it. We've come back to ourselves. Beautiful. Simple. These things are so simple. So thank you, Grandma Sasa. We really appreciate your message. The message of the elders. Prayer. The power of prayer.